Hello and Assalamu alaikum. You are watching and listening to Radio Lums, and I am your host, Ibrahim Arif. The exponential growth of civilization has led us to a point where people, even university graduates, have to continually educate themselves in order to learn new skills and, catch up with the economy. Subsequently, a new movement emerged which aimed to offer educational courses which will help people enhance their profile. We have with us someone at the forefront of such movement, Miss Ayesha Lari from the Center of Continuing Education Studies. Hello, Miss Ayesha.
How are you?
How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Miss Ayesha Lari is actually from LUMS herself. She's an alumnus of the 2021 batch. And she is the program development specialist at the CES Center. Could you talk more about your position in the center?
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you for having me. This is absolutely lovely. It feels great to be back on campus. So essentially what I do is I'm developing courses with the Center for Continuing Education Studies. It's a center that came about around 5 years ago. And we realized that, with the world progressing as it is, there were a lot of non-traditional learners who needed to have access to education in a certain way that they could constantly update their CVs, they could constantly be, adding new skills to their skill set. In fact, even, to make progress in one's career, one needs to keep learning. And that's where continuing education as a stream steps in.
Mm-hmm.
Worldwide, it's becoming a really big part of the education system. And essentially, non-traditional learners are what we cater to. So that includes students, but this is more geared towards professionals or graduates or students who are part of the sort of professional world but need to continue sort of making more and more progress in their career through learning more. So something as simple as, for example, data science, right, or data analytics. A lot of people already exist in that field who have a certain amount of certain number of qualifications. They're already done with what a traditional sort of learning environment looks like. So they have a bachelor's degree, a master's degree, and yet there's a little bit of a gap that needs to be addressed, right? Because these are things that are constantly being updated. So these people who are in the fields already can then turn to continuing education and they can start building up their CVs again. They can start making more progress on what they've learned, updating or sort of like staying up to date with what the newest technology is, newest trends are. That's where continuing education steps in. It's kind of caters to non-traditional learning.
Right. So that's the significance of continuing education.
Absolutely.
So I've interviewed, frankly speaking, numerous people from different departments of LUMS, and obviously I've seen a pattern in that everything in LUMS pretty much has a mission, a vision behind it.
Absolutely.
So what's the purpose of your center and the thought behind it, and who do you target specifically?
Absolutely. I think one of the biggest things that our center looks to do is to make sure that there are no limits to your learning.
Yeah.
Essentially what that means is doesn't matter what your age is, doesn't matter where you're from, doesn't matter what your background is, whether you have a certain qualification or not. Learning should be accessible to everyone, really. And this includes non-traditional learners. This includes people who aren't enrolled in universities or don't formally, go to schools like that. So I think our target audience is that non-traditional sort of learner. I keep using that phrase, but what I technically mean is anyone and everyone, basically, right? No age limits, no limits to what your qualifications are. Say you're somebody who is 14 and you have a passion for the guitar but can't find an outlet because, you have school and you have whatever else activities you have going on as a 14-year-old. If you were to enroll in something like our guitar lessons, you would ensure that you have 2 classes a week that are 2 hours long, an hour long, where you can solely dedicate that time to your passion outside of the classroom and really hone in your skills that way.
Right. let's say hypothetically, let's say I'm a sophomore at LUMS.
Yeah.
Can I be a part of your courses?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think one of the most important things about continuing education is that there are no boundaries or limits to your learning. And I think particularly as someone who went to LUMS and graduated from here and is now working here, I personally would have loved to take these courses back when I was still in college, right? I think what ends up happening at LUMS a lot is that we cater to our academically sort of rigorous programs so much that, we're learning incredible things in our classrooms. We're experiencing student life on campus,
Yeah.
right? Students get together, societies exist. But what gets left out is really trying to hone in or polish your skills, Ustara. So, for example, creatively, right? You don't get that outlet for singing, for flute playing, for guitar lessons, right? Even for acting.
Yeah.
But when you choose to really commit and dedicate yourself to learning and, polishing your skills, that's where the Center for Continuing Education steps in. Most of our classes are evening classes, so that means they happen after 6. So, as a student, you'll be done with your classes. You'll have moved in and out of several classes. And by the end of the day, you're thinking, okay, how can I end this day in a way that makes me fulfilled and then also adds to my life, enriches it in a way that isn't solely academic. And yeah, that's why we exist. Absolutely. We would love to have more sophomores, more students at LUMS enroll in our sessions. In fact, get back to us. Let us know if there are particular things that, you guys would like to have us teach or offer as courses. And we'd love to put something together like that.
Great. Actually, I'm an electrical engineering. I'm a simpleton electrical engineering major. And obviously, electrical engineering we have very dull lives. So, what are some creative arts courses that you have?
Well, I have to disagree with you there. I think electrical engineering is one of the toughest majors there is.
Yeah.
You guys have an incredible amount of workload, exams, tests, assignments.
Yeah, that's what makes us dull, actually.
Yeah. Yeah, no. But for example, if you wanted to step outside the classroom and take a break from that academic rigor, you could enroll in our guitar lessons. We have flute lessons, we have singing, acting, and our courses are offered throughout the year. So we have, on an average, a course lasts 6 to 8 weeks. And then it's offered again as a brand new cycle completely.
Right.
So, whatever time works for you, if you think somewhere near your midterms or your finals isn't a feasible time, you can take one, you can take a course that starts at the beginning of the semester or in your summer.
Right. So, who teaches these courses?
So these are acclaimed industry experts. So you'll find someone who is very, very relevant within the field who will come and teach you from their standpoint of being enmeshed in that industry. Some of our personal and professional development courses are, for example, interior design or introduction to business or introduction to finance, right? These are all courses that don't necessarily only fit into your professional development. They're also personal development. For example, we have a course called investment and asset management, right? And this is a kind of course that you can take whether you're working in the investment industry, whether you're planning on using that as a business strategy, or even for your personal sort of, women at home or people at home who have just started making money and don't necessarily understand where the investment can go. These are courses that are taught by people, who are very, very well known in their fields. Not just that, we also have a lot of academics coming back and teaching. So, for example, we have one of our creative arts courses is advanced fiction writing and introduction to fiction writing. And they're taught by a prolific writer, Miss Kanza Javed is currently teaching them. And she actually has one of her new books coming out soon, I think. She's already written a few. So, yeah, these are people, again, who have lived through these experiences of being in the industry, worked their way up.
Basically cool people.
Yeah, they're very, very cool for sure.
Nice. Acha, let's talk a bit more about creative arts. So obviously, the majority of the student body at LUMS is people who are more in the technical majors, electrical engineering, ACF, MGMT. So how can creative art courses from CES help their profile? Like how does it help them when they go into industry or whatever?
So that's a great question, right? In fact, I'd like to ask you what you do at the end of your day to kind of unwind once you're done with classes and you have that window from 6 p.m. to say 10, 11 p.m. Right? I remember when I was on campus, I would like to sit and read. I'd like to, kind of just waste away the rest of the day. But I know if I had the option to sort of enroll in classes in that time slot, that would help me work on my skills a little bit creatively. For example, I was an English major at LUMS, and being able to take like a fiction writing class after my classes that were for credit, that were for university requirements ended, given, the rough schedule sort of thing I have going throughout the day, I get done with my classes at 6 p.m. I go into CES and I take a writing class, a fiction writing class. I have that solid chunk of an hour where I can sit and write freely. I can get feedback on my work without stressing about what the grade is going to be, what the deadline is, what the next assignment looks like.
But there aren't any grades in these courses.
You're not graded per se, but you do get a certificate at the end of completing your course that is given, you at least meet 80% of your attendance requirements and you submit your quizzes or assignments. So as long as you're keeping up with the instructor and you're able to work out that sort of balance, it isn't as rigorous as a credited university course would be.
Okay, that relieves a lot of pressure, honestly. So let's talk about, obviously at the start of the interview, you talked about how the Center of Continuing Education Studies aims at not only people of, our age, university students, but also people of different ages, older than us, even younger than us. So let's talk about summer school at LUMS and the Young Scholars program that you guys have. How do they work, and what is your mission with those programs?
So the summer school at LUMS is something that's been happening for a few years now. We have a system set up where you enroll well before the deadline. So this year, for example, we have 2 sessions happening at the summer school.
Right.
The first session is happening from the 14th of June to the 1st of July. And the second session is happening from the 18th of July to the 5th of August. And applications are open now. You go to our website, which is summer@lums.edu.pk, and you register there. You sign up, you put in your name, your age, the courses you'd like to take. You fill out your application, and you submit your vaccination certificates to us alongside that, and pictures and other requirements that are there in your application form. That takes about a couple of days to get approved. Once your vaccination status and other documents are approved, you've basically enrolled into summer school. You then get a fee voucher generated to your portal that you download and you pay through the online mechanism or through a bank draft. And then it's basically a waiting game. Then you just wait till the classes start, which is going to be on the 14th of June this summer.
Right.
You've got a ton of courses to choose from. So especially with the summer school, it is structured in a way that there is a college preparatory section and there is an advanced high school section. So the advanced high school section would be for people who are currently enrolled in, O-levels or matric or other sort of similar equivalence levels, right? And the college preparatory program would be for A-levels, FSC, FA. And you, depending on where you fall in the categories, you pick whichever program works for you, and then you go ahead and pick your elective courses, and you will see that there are different buckets. So we've got a core course, then we've got an art school, we've got extra elective courses, we've got personal development, so you go through each of the buckets and you pick one course from each. Now, some of the good things, some of the good courses we're offering this time around, especially for the college preparatory program, include, writing a good personal statement, or editing and writing your CV, communication skills, SAT preparation. These are all things that you really need to get into a good college, right?
Yeah, obviously.
All of your colleges are going to be looking at your personal statement, whether you're applying here or abroad. Your SAT score is something that's particularly important, especially if you're applying to the US. Your CV, a lot of colleges will ask for, right? Even if they're not asking for it as a college sort of requirement, you're going to need your CV throughout your life, right? And I think that's where the summer school becomes really, really important. It's that step right before college for A-level students, and it is a holistic development sort of model for high school students, O-level students, students in FSC, FA, to make the most of their summer, particularly by being on a university campus, right? That
Right.
changes the entire ball game. The experience is different. You get to see students interact with students. You interact with university professors. Throughout the program, you will have teachers who will be mentors and guides. They'll be essentially walking you through the process of what university life is like, but at a much younger level, right? Much before you're supposed to be in university.
So this would pretty much be like a very integral experience a high school student could have.
Absolutely. And especially in terms of like being prepared for college. What this will do for you is just take you one step ahead, and get you ready for college, get you to experience life on a college campus.
Right. I have back at my home, I made a draz mein ek flute pada hua hai, which I don't know how to play. So let's say I am interested in attending one of your courses about flute, playing the flute. So what's the process? How can I apply for those classes?
Right. So for CES courses that are evening courses, you would go to our website, which is ces.lums.edu.pk. You can browse through our website, pick whatever course appeals to you. When you click on the course, it'll take you directly to the course info page,
Right.
and it has the application right next to it. So you register through that, and then the same process where you upload your vaccination certificate and other documents required. That goes into approval. Then you get a sort of fee voucher that you have to pay. So yeah, that would be the process.
Great. Anyway, apart from that last question, obviously our viewers are going to be watching this. They're interested in your center and your courses that you offer. If they have any questions, how can they reach out to you? Any contact points that you have? Where are you on campus?
Absolutely. We are located above the LUMS store. So it's on the first floor. It's the center to the office to your left. There's a board outside. If anybody wants to find us on campus, that's where we are. Otherwise, we're more than receptive on email. So please write to us at ces@lums.edu.pk with whatever queries you have, and we'd love to get back to you with whatever you need help with.
Well, thank you so much for being a part of this interview. It was really nice having you here. And
thank you for having
honestly,
me.
I'm gonna catch up with you on the flute course.
Absolutely, please
I'm really
do.
interested in that.
Yeah.
If you're interested in any courses offered by the Center of Continuing Education, please visit summer.lums.edu.pk. That is summer.lums.edu.pk. Also, you can apply for other courses that they offer at ces.lums.edu.pk. This was our interview with the Center of Continuing Education Studies. You can watch our other interviews as well on YouTube, on our YouTube page, Radio Lums. Apart from that, more importantly, we're also available on Insta, Facebook, and Twitter. Please follow us over there. And more importantly, you can listen to our Radio Lums webcast in the Radio Lums website, radio.lums.edu.pk. This is Ibrahim Arif. Thank you so much for watching. Allah Hafiz.